for ọmọdé àfà sílẹ̀ o. Ọ̀rọ̀ pastor kan láre tí ń bẹ lẹ́yìn o. Kí ló dé? Ẹ wá kú ọrùn wa báyìí. Ẹ rà rẹ̀ kú ní gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń dà wá láàmú ní Nàìjíríà.
I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. I have been laughing and laughing and laughing. And to those, to my viewers who don't understand Yoruba, okay? In fact, the least I can do is just to tell you what is sort of saying. He's actually cursing them, okay? That they would die as unfortunate people. He said he, as a Muslim cleric, Afa, okay? You know, things are really becoming tougher and tougher, you know, and that he, as an Afa, plus his own Islamic students, all right, as Islamic teacher, he ordered them to vote for Tinubu and APC, okay? And now, Nigeria custom, every now and then, they will be arresting people with bag of rice from Shaki town to Ibadan. These two places are inside the same states. How can the custom be arresting people? So he's so angry. Let's say they don't collect, you know, rice from Afar or people will know Afar. So Afar is very angry. Like with the cost of rice today, custom is taking people's rice. Is this what they all voted for? He told his family and all his students to vote for APC. Wow, yeah, you will die, Reg Eddie. You will die brutally. All of you will be destroyed. In fact, you will be ruined. And he was calling on other Nigerians that the situation has gone beyond anybody's control now. That every day you should be cursing and cursing and cursing these people. I told you earlier, just do it to make yourself feel better. Maybe your curses, they affect them all. The day you all have to march on the streets and they begin to run away, once they begin to jump into their private jets, flying to God knows where. But if you are able to hold the day, you know, that day is the day you will know that there is something that works faster than curses. Okay? When you are dealing with public officials who are career criminals. So I was telling you about propaganda. I said, there is no amount of distraction or propaganda or gaslighting that is going to really work on people anymore. Especially those of you that should stay awake, stay woke. APC, is a weapon fashioned against you. Remember that song, go, no weapon fashioned against you shall prosper because you know God. Abi? No weapon. Baba, APC is the weapon fashioned against you. And your this war is not carnal. I mean, I always get that confused, right? So if I say the war is carnal, does that mean that it's spiritual, Abi? If I say it's not carnal, that means it's physical, Abi. I'll come back to that. Please enlighten me. I used to mix them up because carnal is sacred, Abi, holy and Holy Spirit. And all of that stuff, you know. Anyway, a lot of people feels like it is karma. So Afa is now saying, listen, this is no issue of me being Afa. Don't tell me that I am Afa. Okay? This is not being pastor or about issue of being pastor. In fact, we need to call on the traditionalists to bring out the Olugbon. So Olugbon, and a conjunction. Olugbon. That is when I say, talk and do. That kind of thing. I can just be like, oh yeah, all of you watching me right now, As you're hearing this, my voice, oh yeah, sleep. And from nowhere, all of you will begin to yawn. That kind of command and control. So we have them in Yoruba land, all right? And the Yoruba Nollywood, all right, also helped us to master that, but I haven't really seen it physically per se. You know what I mean? So Afa is now saying the situation has gone beyond anyone's control. This is not pastor, this is not Christian, Muslim, anything. We need to consult the traditionalists to bring out their padlock, bring out everything. It's time to actually attack these people spiritually. Touch and go, touch and follow. You remember those days that your girlfriend will cheat on you and then she will be like, I did not know how I got into the room. He just used command and control on me. Hi. I don't know about this generation, but I remember that time where they would say, you didn't know, just touch her like that with a ring and all that command. I was like, hey, follow me. Oh yeah, take off your clothes and all that stuff, right? All those tricky nonsense at the time. It's okay. I don't know that one. No. Anyway, Afa is like a living victim, like, you know, somebody who went all out for APC, Egbekegbe, and in 9 months, Afa is costing them. They cannot afford food. Afa even said, these are the people paying the salary of Afa. You know, in Nigeria, you go to the Afa to go and check if you are going to be all right, or if there are some enemies after you and all of that thing that you need, or after your family. So when you go there regularly, because you get money, so you give Afa something, and Afa will pray for you and everything. Even church and all that, they give you give them money and they pray for you and all that. Even Babalawo. But everybody look to affect and say. The same way people where they sell fish are complaining that they are not selling, their customer is too expensive and all that. It's the same thing with the Babalawo, the Mama Lawos, the brother Lawos, the auntie Lawos, uncle Lawos, and the rest of them like that. Ask them. This shege is affecting every one of them. And that is why Afa is costing them. So I was telling you about propaganda. You can use propaganda to possibly get to power, rig election, do all of that, state capture. You cannot use propaganda to run a country, and you cannot use use distraction to get everyone busy. It's not going to happen. Now, adding gaslighting as well as reverse psychology, that is even going to make it worse. Do not listen to them because they don't mean well for you. When they will add their Greek minister. Why are Nigerians hungry and food expensive and all that? At least for the first time, this one said, Bokuwari never have any plan for this, planting season or harvest season in 2023. They don't care about you. But listen, so which means this shege, he just they put on the tie. He never wear shoe.
In some cases. Partly, like other speakers have mentioned, we have been challenged over a period of quite some time since COVID. COVID has an impact on agriculture, like in all other sectors. At the same time, if you remember the flooding of 2021, 2022, and also the Naira redesign of 2022, 2023. Just at the point of harvest in 2022, government came out with a policy of change of Naira, and that really impacted on the availability of cash. In 2023 early, farmers, when they were just preparing for planting in 2023, had no cash whatsoever anywhere. And access to capital for farmers is very key, and there was no access for farmers. And in addition, an exiting government, I don't want to say this much, but an exiting government did not plan to do the cultivation, wet season cultivation for 2023. I don't think there was any impact or any direct intervention by government against the 2023 cultivation. And that also impacted on the quantum of harvest that we had in 2023. We have not had any harvest since the one in 2023 up till now. But we have had two programs. One is the wheat program that we have done, in which Jiga has impacted a lot, and all 14 other states. But the rice, second phase of rice that we just...
I mean, if I am living in a country with shattered economy like that of Nigeria, and I am there, I mean, I have to listen to guys like this on what they are doing, I will be depressed. You understand? I will be depressed because I know the situation is hopeless. And as for just all talk, no action, that's exactly what that guy represents. And this is what they are doing. And this is what they wake up every day to try and do. Oh, what can we do? Can we get grains from, or can we just start a farm from so and so? The insecurity, which is the primary reason why food production, cultivation in Nigeria completely dwindled, is gaining more strength and strength. The industry, we are talking about the terrorism industry in Nigeria, is growing bigger and bigger and bigger. So how do you expect people to go to the farms when the farm is not safe? How do you expect your investment in the agriculture to yield when your farmers are being slaughtered, if you would ever see any farm at all? But yeah, we are working on, we are called Jigawa and 14 other states. That's it. What are they doing in 14 other states? Can you see them fact for fact? Absolute zilch. But they will take pictures of some farms for you and say, this is the one in Jigawa, that is the one in Taraba, that is the one in Kiniko. They know you will likely not, you will probably never go there. Well, their case is like that of a son, a farmer's son. A man has his son, they were working on their farm, on his farm, okay? He's helping his father. So as they were walking, the son shouted, Papa, Papa, I have found a snail. And the father looked back and said, oh, lucky you. Keep it. We will use it to appease your creator when we get home. Say, okay, Baba. They continued walking. Again, the son shouted, I found another snail. And the father was like, oh, it must be your lucky day. He said, oh, this one is even bigger. And the father said, just keep it well. Don't let it crawl away. We will use it to appease your creator when we get home. Finally, towards evening, the son shouted again, Papa, I have seen the biggest of the biggest snail ever. And the father said, I told you, that today must be your day. Just keep it close. We will use that not only to appease your God, appease your creator. We will also use it to seek for good fortune, long life, good health, and all that in your life. So when they got home, the father said, my son, could you please bring that your biggest snail? Let me pray for you. And the son returned and he said, I was just playing, I was just kind of, I was only playing, sort of. I was only saying that to deceive you. And the father turned back and said, oh, look at you. You did not deceive me. You deceived your creator. Ori ara ẹ ló ń tàn.
That's exactly what APC is. They can tell you all the good things and make you feel like something is coming. But when you listen closely and carefully, you will realize that there's absolutely nothing going on. Where you plant, there is time to cultivate and plant, Abby. There is also time to harvest. Where you ask them in few months' time, what happened to those Jigawa and 14 other states projects? What did you grow? And what impact is that going to have on us? They will give you another story. Like Oshiomole with Sheung on channels. Who should you blame for all of this? Or who should you hold responsible? They said you should go and look for the lifeless god of Daura, Bokuwari. But listen.
You sat in some of those meetings to mediate between the federal government and Labour. And there are agreements that are made. And Labour is giving the federal government a 14-day ultimatum to fulfill some. Because according to Labour, the federal government has not been faithful to the promises made. To those,
which of those promises?
Yeah, there are 15 line items in the agreement that the federal government made with Labour, upon which they said things were going to be done. And that's what the Labour is asking the federal government to do. Some of which include the grant of a wage award of 35,000 naira to federal government workers, a minimum wage committee, which we've seen the setting up, federal government to suspend collection of value-added tax. There are 15 items. The Labour is saying that the federal government has not been truthful in accomplishing those agreements.
Do you know my honest view about this? Because like I said, Labour is my constituency. Without Labour, nobody will know that Oshiomole exists. So nothing and absolutely nothing will change me from who I am. I have support, and I said this on the floor of the Senate last Tuesday. Yes, the federal government approved 35,000 naira increase on top of current wage levels. And I said, I am unable to understand why any Nigeria state governor or government is not implementing that agreement. So I don't even agree with you that it was for federal employees. Federal employees don't have different market from state employees. And the struggle that was mobilized, the workers of Nigeria were mobilized, both private and public sector, in what you call a general strike. Before that, 35,000 was awarded. By implication, therefore, all state governments, all local governments, all private sector employers, and of course, all federal government employees should implement it. I don't think NSC business is to lament it. They should fight for the implementation of their right. Any government that refused to implement the 35,000 is not entitled to peace. I mean, this is my view. And I don't think
in the
NSC
agreement, it was a federal government it was a federal government workers. It was the agreement was for federal government workers.
Why were state government participating in the strike?
So, but the question is, when they sat down to make those agreements. It was called a general strike. It wasn't called a national. If it was the federal government employees, then the negotiation should have been between the federal government and this federal civil service union. When NSC negotiate on behalf of all workers, whether federal, state, local government, and private sector. If it is purely federal affairs, there is Federal Civil Service Union. If it is purely private sector affair, you have a Nigeria Employers Consultative Association that will have a meeting with the NLC. But when NLC against the federal government, and I know that state governments were represented in those meetings, the agreement reached, in my opinion, ought to apply, ought to have national application. So including you in China, you should increase your pay by at least 35,000. Every employer in Nigeria, that is my understanding. Because there is no disputing the fact that whereas the subsidy has triggered increase in prices, there is no denying the fact that as a consequence, the revenue in nominal terms accrued to states, federal and state government has also doubled. Some might say it has tripled. Because if at the time of negotiation it was 500 naira, and the exchange rate is now 1,000, whatever, 200, 300, 400, it means that what is available to the federation account for distribution has also quadrupled. So why will you keep workers' wages fixed? I don't agree with that.
So you support Labour on this one?
If the federal government refuses to pay their own agreement, what do they expect? No, when it comes to these issues, my conscience tells me where I stand. Because I can't survive on my old pay. My cook can't survive on his old pay. He has to go home and come back. I mean, we are not living in the moon. So, but my problem with the NLC is apply your tools selectively. When I was president of the NLC, we have agreement. If the federal government is not implementing, we target the federal government. If a particular state government is not implementing, we limit our action to that particular state government. It is not that if one state government is defaulting.
Sorry, that will take you a bit more to get to the part I actually wanted to share. It was the part where it was told about your political party promised or to take care of all these things. But now, here we are, and just same way he put Shewin in the picture, right? This is the right one. Let's listen, sorry.
The scenario playing out is that when people are at the helm of affairs, there is a possibility that they are detached from the feelings and the pains of the average person. Yes, I mean, any reasonable person will know that the economy was in a dire strait. And things were really very terrible when this government got into power. And any reasonable person will also know that this Bola Tinubu administration needs to be given time to be able to fix things. However, things were so bad that people are suffering adversely. And that adverse effect of the sufferings and the hardship is touching the bottom line, so much that if we are not careful, people may not be able to feed. And so the question of how long it will take, because you are one of those who were vigorously campaigning for the Bola Tinubu presidency. And now that we are here, 7 months down the line, the question will be how much more can we wait? Or how much more can the people who are suffering suffer?
Well, I think you are contradicting yourself with due respect when you say, how did you put it? Something like painful and whatever. This is not a football match that is built for 90 minutes with the possibility of extra time of 30 minutes. And if there is no solution, you go for penalty shootout. You are dealing with an economy that, in all facets, has had its own challenges. Job creation, unstable currency, leakages here and there, etc., etc. Now, as to the question about whether leaders are in touch with the people, with the reality, if they were not in touch, all the talk you had about reviewing minimum wage, some debate as to how do we deal with food prices in the short run. Should we resort back to importation? Should we insist that we incentivize our farmers and get them back to the farm and give them all the incentive they need to produce the food that we need? All of that doesn't suggest that the leadership is not at home, is not aware of the challenge that we face. I think the president is very much aware. All of us are very much aware. I am very much aware. This last week on the floor of the Senate, we debated these issues. We debated the issue of security. We debated the issue of high cost of living. And we debated the fact that we are not here to lament it. We are here to teach two solutions and fix it. Now, if you ask me how long it's going to take, I will tell you no. It's not I'm not in a position to prescribe time. But there's something.
Nuisance, Lele.
That he only said all of that, but he had no time, he had no answer. And indeed, he probably doesn't have that. He's not in the position you would say, Abi. So, ladies and gentlemen, the shege that you are facing under APC, Egbekegbe, as you are watching this video, is going to last for another 7 and 3 months, 7 years and 3 months. Okay, so because, like I have told you many times, if you don't stop them, they will run their full course. And when they are done, Baba, I don't know if there will be anyone left anyway to be able to actually pull any fight from that rank anymore. So, to those who probably are genuine in rebuffing and then rejecting APC, Egbekegbe, from the time immemorial, like you've always been on that side, keep staying there, because there are more and more and more people that are coming to your side. We just don't really know if they will all be genuine or not. But with the level of what they are unleashing on you, I can bet my left yanch again, all right, that they would have to be genuine. Onga doesn't speak, Onga speaks just one language, and everybody understands it. And it doesn't matter if you are like from here, there, or there, or there. You know what I mean? And with these guys, with all of the excuses and the what have you, you should probably brace up. Either brace up to let it out last for the next 7 more years. Because if you are waiting for election, you probably are still dreaming. Now, talking about election, by the way, you remember Lamidiot, Apampas, and then Araban will be that rogue, yeah? And they are like Labour Party guys, all right? And Araban B is back. This time around, as usual, is up with another allegation. It is the fact that the Nigerian media actually, have time to hand their microphone in front of him to listen to him, and also, well, that would be on their part. I don't have to. There's something I wanted to say. I don't have to, so I'll leave it at that. Now, his accusation this time around is weighty. He didn't really present anything other than just the accusation. I want it to be on record so that when we start seeing the follow-up, okay, we can know where it all started from. Arabambi said 2-point-something billion naira was raised for Peter Obi's presidential election. And according to him, the money is in their Labour Party chairman's hand. I know it's ridiculous, Abi. I know. But for the record, I'll let you listen to him. Oh yeah, say your mind.
There have been complaints all over Nigeria about terrorism. And we are also calling on the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the Economic and Financial Crime Commission, the Israel General Police, and the DSS, that Abure is also using our bank account to fund terrorism. Because of late, Mr. Peter Obi has been trying to unify the party. Mr. Peter Obi has been, on top of the situation to unify the party. But Abure kept all these things to himself. The Fidelity Bank account, 41,500, 52,398. Zenith Bank, 1213, 704059 should be investigated by the authorities. This is where foreign donors donated money for Labour Party, which they are now using to fund the stabilization project of Nigeria, to cause violent overthrow of civil administration, and also to fund terrorism. I repeat, Fidelity Bank, 41,500, 52,398. Zenith, 1213 704059. These are the accounts that Abure is using to fund terrorism, and that must be investigated. And we're also calling on Mrs. Olushi Okwara, the treasurer of the Abure faction, to provide detail of this account. We beg her to provide it to Nigerians. All of you will be shocked at the manner of people Abure transfer money to. And what exactly is that money meant for? Were they received for? Do they bid for any contract? Because where you are transferring 100 million to an individual, what for? They were just trying to do that to destabilize Nigeria. That is function Abure. Because I don't see anything why a president candidate that is having issue with a faction and trying to say, okay, let us come together. You, Abure, will now say, no, you don't want any peace in the party. It was because it's profiteering. So we are going to exonerate Mr. Obi from all this. He is not part and parcel, but Abure and Ojuku, Clement Ojuku, they are the brain, behind it for funding. So I will also plead for the police to protect that woman, Olushi Okpara, because once this press statement is out, she might be silenced. Because we knew what is going on between them now. She's ready to provide information to Nigerians so that at least we can have peace and stability in Nigeria. On the issue affecting Nigerians, it will not be good for us to just keep our mouth shut and fell unconcerned about the plight of other Nigerians, even including the speaker here. And thus, I want to address you today on those critical issues facing our nation as the National Public Secretary of Labour Party. Nigeria is confronted with pressing challenges, notably the looming specter of hunger and recent revelations like the AFCC disclosure about financial misappropriation, and if not properly managed, will escalate to what we don't imagine. Hunger is on the land we all know. Recent revelation, such as AFCC declaring Mrs. Emefiele and 3 others wanted for allegedly conspiring with Mrs. Emefiele concerning whose sum of money belongs to the federal government is condemnable. And one other disclosure also about a former deputy governor of Central Bank, who we were told took $300 million of Nigeria money to buy shares for some person in Polaris Bank, Titan Bank, and Union Bank. We are aware that the DSL was interested and other issue in how the money was raised by the Titan Bank to acquire Union Bank, which has become effected. Also, some churches were accused by the CPN private investigator, Mr. Jim Obaze, of sponsoring ring terrorism to the tune of 30 billion. Are we going to continue like this? The former Accountant General, who was accused of stealing 100 billion.
Nuisance lele. Nuisance lele.
Do you see what Nigeria has become? I just kept shaking my head listening to that moron, that weary. The guy just came out to accuse Abure of sponsoring destabilization in Nigeria. Do you not think that's exactly what he just did there? That Abure collected money, donations from abroad for Labour Party presidential campaign. Then he quickly said, Peter Obi is not part of it. Peter Obi is trying to unite them and all of that. Then he said, if we want stability in Nigeria, if Nigeria wants stability, they must investigate the money inside Fidelity Bank. What bank did he call? Notice pé àwọn wèrè tí wá take over Nigeria finally by. Is it? I mean, in Nigeria didn't. He called a press conference, dropped a weighty allegation. And just like everything else that said, go on. That's why I wanted you to see it. You see all that jargons that he wrote to start reading like he's doing a press conference. No, you don't need to listen to all of that nonsense. There's a part where he finally said the money that is being used to fund terrorism. He actually said they use party money to fund terrorism with no real evidence or nothing. He's asking government to investigate what he just said. And he's going to go to bed, he's going to go to bed tonight and nothing's going to happen. Iluyeti finish, but I won't make you listen to this other part, okay? Please don't get mad yet.
There have been complaints all over Nigeria. It's not to one Nigerian. Therefore, President Bola Tinubu, why not solely responsible, bear the duty of finding lasting solution? During Obasanjo, over 16 billion was spent on electricity and power, but nothing, $16 billion, but nothing was had. Who collected the money? During the same administration, 300 billion was spent to do turnaround maintenance for a refinery that are still on their ground zero. Those who collected government money and failed to execute the project need to be executed, because Nigeria needs to stop corruption, and there is nothing President Bola Tinubu cannot do to stop the uprising, because people are hungry, not because of a fault of his own, but he doesn't have a choice. He's the president, and he must stand up to the occasion. President Tinubu should order that any kidnapper or corrupt person arrested need to be executed. Kidnappers who are raping school children, threatening to marry them off, are criminals, and they are not supposed to be put in any police cell. The current administration must address the management of funds in the previous administration, exemplified by their left financial improprieties. Swift legal action are essential, reflecting a commitment to justice and deterring future occurrences. If anyone engages police in a gun duel, such a person should be tagged as an economic saboteur and should be killed instantly. Those caught stealing our crude oil should be bombed and killed inside such vessels, because they are economic terrorists and saboteurs. President Tinubu should know that this uprising could snowball if urgent steps are not taken, because Nigerians are hungry. We advocate decisive action against corruption, proposing capital punishment, punishable by death, for kidnappers and corrupt individuals via executive order by the president, to beef up the IGP, DSS, and AFCC power. The rising threat to citizens demand stringent measures to ensure their safety. The rising tide of corruption and kidnapping and threat to school children necessitate stringent measures. We also condemn the APC attempt to shift blame on opposition party for the recent protests against economic hardship, as the like of Kenneth Ogongo, Dele Famoruti, and Aisha Yusuf, who are parading themselves as Labour Party members are not our member. We urge representatives to effect their arrest over the statement and conduct against the Constitution, the Nigerian state, and the president. They all should be arrested for treason felony, which is punishable under the law, because any statement they made is on their own and not on behalf of Labour Party. Therefore, it is irresponsible to accuse opposition party, except Labour Party, for any misdeed of this fellow, because they are on their own and they know what to say at the right time, and they ought to know what to say at the right time or what not to say at the right time. Therefore, the ruling party must focus on addressing this issue rather than deflecting responsibility. As we know, the president is not at fault for the current trend of endemic corruption, but we believe he should be able to end the corruption. We urge President Bola Tinubu to tackle corruption head-on, as failure to do so may lead to widespread unrest. The power to save our nation lies in his hand and that of Nigeria. He must be on the side of the people and not on the side of the oppressor. I repeat, the president must, as a matter of urgency, be on the side of Nigerians. When these executive orders are made, let us see those who will go on air to criticize the president. All of them should be arrested. Because when you are stealing Nigeria money and Nigerians are dying in droves, the president of Nigeria is the president over all Nigerians. He's not the president over few Nigerians who have correctly enriched themselves to the detriment of other Nigerians. So we are imploring the president to sign an executive order so that the IGP will now be able to carry out summary execution for any bandit that engages police in any gun duel. When kidnappers engage police in a gun duel, they don't need to arrange them in the court. All of them should be arrested and killed immediately. The Navy, the Navy, once any vessel is caught stealing.
Nuisance lele. Nuisance lele.
Schizophrenic. Àrùn ọpọlọ ni. Let me explain. At a point, it was calling on, it was like, not Tinubu, all these things going on right now, Tinubu is not responsible for them, but he must do something. So when he started saying, oh, those who stole money, they should be executed, you are there like, well, I think it's making sense, okay? If anybody engage with police, gone duel with police, they must be executed. You're like, okay, that's any bandit caught, they must be killed. Yeah. Any people anyone caught stealing Nigeria crude oil, they must be bombed. You are there, you are like, okay, it's like it's making some sense now. You don't sense madness, Abi. Schizophrenia, kini, but magbo. Then quickly it switched to Aisha Dele Farotimi, especially Aisha, that said Nigeria has no president and Tinubu is not our president. Okay, so it switched straight and it was like, they do not represent Labour Party. They are not members of Labour Party. That could be right. All right. Then it went on to be like, the president should issue executive order. Arrest all of them. Wireni. So it will be like he's trying to communicate. You'll be like following and okay. No, maybe not that. That's too extreme. Okay. No. Wireni, listen to Latin Kosha. Situation Nigeria now. But he actually kept saying that the uprising going around the country where people are already coming out to gather, protest here and there, that Tinubu must do something. Hunger is everywhere. Kiniko is everywhere. But the first part you listened to, did you hear where he said Abure is using the money, not just to sponsor terrorism, but to also overthrow Tinubu by saying overthrow democratic government? Do you understand what I mean? Like, it's like, kind of like dog whistle, like, they didn't have to present any evidence. He said it's own there, right? That's madness, isn't it? Anyway, that's Araba and Bidiots, okay? So I would have possibly touched his allegation, but I know there is going to be a follow-up. I heard some of you saying go to court, but anyway, the Nigeria NLC. Now, this one I'm going to say now is actually brief, okay? It's about Niger Republic, all right? I have no full detail yet, okay? But there is already a report, all right? In case if suddenly all of you who are flying to Nigeria or flying out of Nigeria, you are expected to fly over Nigeria Republic, okay? But now they have declared that they do not want any airline or aircraft going to Nigeria or leaving Nigeria to pass through their airspace. They will shoot it down. So what they would do now is that airlines in Nigeria would have to go to Benin Republic, go on to Senegal and fly you around and then go to Europe. So that could be like maybe an extra 1 hour to your flight. And that could also affect the price of your flight. For those where they fly, all of us, we don't get money to fly. People like me and you. So we are not affected. So don't worry. Meanwhile, that's just about the people of Nigeria and those of you who are flying. Now, concerning the hardship in Nigeria, and what do you think should be the adequate minimum wage or living wage? Something that triggered what Oshiomole said about implementation of 35,000 naira minimum wage or bonus or gift and all that. Well, the NSC is now asking them for 1 million naira, by the way. I'll show you.
This 1 million naira may be relevant if the value of the Nigeria continues to depreciate. And we need to, if the inflation continue to depreciate, if it is not checked, because the demand, of labor is equally dependent on what is happening in the society. You remember that by the time we are contemplating 200,000, the exchange rate was at about 800, 900. As we talk today, the exchange rate is about 1,400 or even more. Now, those are the issues that determine the demand, and it is equally affecting the cost of living. And we had always said it that our demand will be based on cost of living index. You agree with me that today, even a bag of rice is going for about 60, 70,000 naira or more. A bag of even corn, locally produced corn, is about 56 or more. On and on, food stuff is getting out of reach. Now, are we going to get a minimum wage that will not, be enough for transportation even for 1 week? We have to factor in all these issues, and that will determine the federal government's commitment to this negotiation. It's not just that they want to give us minimum wage. The old minimum wage will be expiring by April, and ordinarily the federal government ought to have set up the committee 6 months before that time, so that negotiation would have commenced. But up to now, the federal government didn't do it until they inaugurated the committee, and the committee have not sat. So it appears we are going to work within 1 month or two to agree on a figure. And I doubt how those ones are going, especially when you look at the people that the federal government assembled, as members of the committee. They looked at some of the governors that are not paying even the existing minimum wage. And even they have a minister of budget, who didn't implement his minimum wage as a governor. Now, if you have these people in the government team, on the issue of minimum wage, some of us are not seeing a bright future on the work of this new minimum wage committee.
You will never get anything, Ajero. I promise you. They assembled governors that didn't pay salaries, assembled other politicians to discuss Nigeria's minimum wage. Do you see the irony of it? Do you see when I tell you that the reason why you can't take them or believe anything they say, and if you probably try to believe anything they say for face value, you are going to be their victim. I will never be their victim because I am always ahead of them in a way that, I can't be their victim. I can't know all of this and still play into their hands and say, oh, I'm so disappointed. Disappointed, Kenny. Then secretly, they gave them 500 million naira. 500 million naira to discuss Nigeria minimum wage. And with the balance, with the promise of, we'll give you the balance of 500 million when you come up with a number. Do you understand how this whole trick and this whole fuckery, right? Really makes it, kind of will make a sort of a comic show if it is funny. And we are talking about lives of the people here, right? So the guy is asking for 1 million naira minimum wage. You imagine they say they have to pay, people will not pay 30,000 naira minimum wage. They would have to pay 1 million. Do you even see this? Do you see any end in sight? If you are a worker watching me right now, how do you even feel about this whole thing? Are you optimistic that something they are going to, like, what exactly is the value you think your daily work is worth if they have to value it like right now? Is that 1 million naira a month minimum? And do you actually see these guys do that? 500,000? Do you even see them give you 100,000 naira? I don't. When Showore proposed 100,000 naira minimum wage in Nigeria, 2018, 2019, I remember a dollar then was about 350 to